Alright, today we were going to start building the kids' tree house, but it's been raining for the last 3 hours, so it's pretty wet outside. So I'm going to set up and do some wiring on this engine. I need to wire up the distributor, the electric coil. That's it. That's all I need to fire it up. Oh, I got to wire up the fuel pump too. So we'll do that. I'll get the oil topped off, and then I'm pretty much ready to start it. Let's get going on that. Okay, I got everything wired up. It's all temporary. I got an alligator clip, power the distributor, or the coil on the distributor, and then that's jumped from there to the electric choke. Some people say don't do this, some people do it. I don't care, I'm doing it. This is all temporary to make sure I can get the motor fired up before I stick it in the Mazda over there. And I got the fuel pump, got gator clips on it as well. I'm not running the regulator right now. I'm not going to run the regulator right now because I just want to make sure the engine will fire and run for 30 seconds to 2 minutes, whatever. Make sure everything sounds good so we can stick it in the truck. The timing should be set. That's to be determined when I fire it up. I got my old interstate battery back there. It's charging. I think I'm going to take the air cleaner off and we'll spray a little gas or carb cleaner down there and see if it even fires off. I don't know, I might move the engine over here so I can hang it just a hair off the ground. If this thing falls, I'm gonna be mad. Alright, the engine is drug over here and hung off of my hoist. So now it ain't gonna tip over. It might flop and twist with the torque, but it's not gonna fall and hit the ground, and that's what I'm looking for. So let's get the battery drug over here and see if it even turns over. Alright, transmission's in park. Ground is hooked to the block. Nice. Go put that in the fridge, buddy. That's a good sign. Still spilled. Alright. I'm so nervous. I've never done this before. Can't learn if you don't try. That battery's awful weak. Let's get a charger on that battery and revisit this in a minute. Sounds promising. It's just not getting enough juice out of that battery. It's not turning over fast enough. I'm not sure why this choke is wide open. We'll get to that in a little bit. God, I need a better battery. Let's try this again. If it fires up, I'll worry about wiring up the fuel pump and stuff after a bit. Just a little bit of gas on each side of the carburetor. Alright, let's cross our fingers, gentlemen. Hook up the ground. And mind you, it turns over slow because, like I said, I need a new battery. Let's see what we got. Okay, so now we know the engine will fire. Now we need to see if the engine will idle. Let me get some gas in a bottle, get my fuel pump set up, and see if we can make it idle. We'll be back. Okay, so batteries are hooked up. I got a separate battery over here I can hook the fuel pump up to. See what we can do. First, let's see if it even turns over with the connections I got. That's a yes. This is fuel. Come on. We're gonna flood it. I wish it would turn over faster so I don't have the issue of flooding it. Let me start my truck so I got more juice going to the battery. Not sure why it turns over so hard. I don't really enjoy that. Everywhere, so we're gonna stop there. This is kind of ghetto, but I'll show you what I got set up. So the fuel pump is over. So over here I got a separate battery for my fuel pump to be on. Got my fuel over here so I don't knock it over. Fire extinguisher. And then I was having problems with it cranking over, and I realized that the gauge of wire that these jumper cables is not thick enough to send all the cranking amps to the starter that it needs. I had a set of jumper cables that were no good. I stripped the ends off, and now we have a thicker gauge of wire to run through. Listen to how fast this thing turns over now. That's what I'm talking about. Another issue I might run into trying to test fire it right now is I don't have my fuel pressure regulator hooked up because I don't have the right hose for these fittings. But hopefully it'll be alright just to run for a minute or so. And if not, I guess I'll order lines and set this up. It's gonna be loud. Ready? Sounds good. That is exciting. It's my first time ever doing that, and I might have to go in and relieve myself. Okay, so after switching the engine from EFI to carb, and then the engine sat for 2 years because life happens, it runs. Timing sounds great. I'm sure it's not perfect, but that's just a rough set time with me dropping the distributor in, matching up the timing marks, and going. So the next step in this Mazda project, I need to finish welding the part on the cross member that I flipped, clean up the frame, and then start shoehorning this engine in here. I'm going to borrow my neighbor's cherry picker, and we're going to set it in and wiggle it and drop it. Hopefully we don't have to cut that open. If we do, oh well. And then another thing I got to do is from center hole to center hole on my motor mount is about 22 inches, and from frame rail to frame rail is like 19 3/4. So I need to shorten those up quite a bit, and then I need to make brackets that will weld onto here that I can bolt through to the engine, well, to the motor mount I should say. get a parts list started for other things. I'm going to make my own transmission cross member. One of the big things I got to figure out how to do is drive shaft. I have the Ford end here, but when I bought this truck, all the parts were in the back. I threw them away and I didn't save the drive shaft. So I need to find a Mazda drive shaft or the coupler that goes on the end, get a custom drive shaft made. But with this thing running, I don't see why we shouldn't be able to take it out, take it down the road a couple blocks, 2 or 3 months, and then actually have it driving and taking it to car shows next spring. So stay tuned, there'll be more videos on this. Leave your comments in the video, or don't. Like and subscribe, or don't. I enjoy making these whether you like watching them or not. So you guys have a good week. Stay tuned for more.